to Evolve with 3Share. So thanks for joining us. First of all, we're going to be talking about Adobe Edge Delivery Services today. I'm Rabiah, and I've been with 3Share for over 7 years. And for most of that time, I was actually on the delivery side, spending time doing projects as a project manager and working with clients. And before that, I spent a lot of time in e-commerce and transportation as a product manager. So I've been around AEM and basically like websites and mobile apps and just delivering customer experiences for about 15 years now. So in this last 8 years, been focused on AEM. And Fernando, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Well, I'm Fernando. I've been with 3Share for a little over a year. I've focused on project management and on occasion business analysts for various company clients. I have over 10 years of experience in the software development industry, and in recent years, I focus on content management systems, which is why I loved AEM when I discovered it. Today, I get to share another interesting side of content management that I'm excited to share with everyone.
Nice. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about what we're going to be chatting about. So this session is called Unlocking Adobe Edge Delivery Services, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what that is, and you're going to demo one of the most awesome features about it. So people watching will be familiar with Adobe Experience Manager, or AEM, which we'll call it going forward, but they may wonder what Adobe EDS is. So I think the first thing we should do is just talk about what is Adobe Edge Delivery Services.
Sure. Let me start off with the meaning of EDS, or Adobe Edge Delivery Services. It's a cloud-based suite of services that helps businesses create and deliver personalized and optimized content experiences to their users. These services offer a variety of benefits, including flexibility, where EDS allows businesses to use a variety of content sources, including CMS, documents, APIs, and files. It offers efficiency of automating many of the content development and delivery tasks, saving time and money. And last but not least, and what I think brings us here today, is the personalization, allowing businesses to personalize content for each user with the use of tools well known to everyone that helps to create and deliver content quickly, easily, and effectively. That's what
Amazing.
I want to say about the ADS.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you actually did a blog about Edge, and now hearing you talking about it now, I think it's really a game changer for authors. I mean, someone who's been an author myself, and when I was a project manager, I trained AEM users to be authors. It just changed the way they work. So can you talk a little bit about document-based authoring?
Yes, Rabia. In the world of content management, document-based authoring aims to simplify the process of creating and publishing content, making it faster and more efficient. This process is based on the concept of blocks, which are pieces of content that can be combined to create web pages, as we do with AEM. Blocks can be created using a variety of tools, including Microsoft Office or Google Docs, as we know. And I think it's fantastic. The sample project that Adobe provides for editing your content and getting a first approach to how this block editing concept works in a Google document is super intuitive. You can simply fill in your content in the specific block, and with a few more clicks, you will have it published. And that's not all. In addition to that, your site being responsive, adapting to any screen, it will also have optimal performance for organic searches on the web, on the internet. So I think that's amazing too. This means the website will have a very good ranking within the search results. And I think that's um, another key point for ad delivery services in this case.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and that's so important. And people sometimes don't think of SEO right away, but anytime you're building a site, that should be top of mind when you're structuring your content. And so it sounds really cool. One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention at the top is if someone has questions, they can just put them in the chat, or there's a questions tab that you can use at the bottom. And there's also a poll. And I'll be adding some poll questions here and there. I've already added one. But just getting back to what you were talking about. So the author, they're usually in AEM and working in there, but now they could actually just stay in a document they're probably already working in. Like when we've collaborated together on a blog, or even this, we've stayed in a Google Doc. And so they can actually just be in there, do what they want there, and then publish it to the web. So other than Magic, which some people like to think that's what this is, how is it working to go from a Word doc or a Google Doc to the front end? And maybe how do you prevent errors that could happen with that too?
Good question, Rabia. We have Adobe, which has already taken care of addressing all the backend concerns, implying great ease for what remains on the front end side. Through this working template we have as a reference, the problems of how to manage different type of front-end components are already solved. And of course, some rules to follow to prevent what you mentioned about preventing mistakes. And this means that we must comply with specific rules generated on the front end for the page blocks. Generally, these rules will be established through the use of tables and keywords that define these blocks and their content and styles. Any text or image we add to a particular table will conform to the predefined styles for that component. Therefore, if we mistakenly modify the title of a table or insert a content outside of them, our page may display the content without adhering to the styles of the components. So that's something that we should be taking into account.
Nice. And I mean, I think like just in hearing you talk about this and thinking about use cases now, there are definitely sites I can see this not really working for, like that are super complex or even like, just with different plugins and booking engines and stuff. But like a blog, for example, this seems like a perfect use case. And so if I wanted to use this feature for that kind of thing, it would save a lot of time. But what are the ideal use cases for document-based authoring?
So imagine that within your organization, you need to deploy a new site. I'm going to use an example, like a blog or something similar. And your content management team has little or no knowledge of CMS tools, but they are familiar with working in a Google Doc sheet, for example. Under that scenario, you could simply outline the blocks that the website will have, such as the site structure, header, footer, body, etc. And content management team could easily fill in those blocks with the content to be displayed on the website. Just type in words or copy pasting images. A couple more clicks, voila, you will have your stylish blog with content managed and customized from a well-known and practical tool, as we know, like Google Docs, for example.
Nice. All right, Fernando. I mean, this all sounds really cool, but is there anything like can an author just go in and do it, or does a developer have to do something beforehand to set this up?
Yes, there are several configurations that we need to do beforehand. I recorded my screen earlier, and I will walk you through it now if you can share the screen.
Yep.
I believe that anyone with a bit of knowledge in code repositories and a GitHub account would be able to run the project without issues. Firstly, I want to mention that there's a developer guide available that provides a well-explained step-by-step process for setting up the example project. Now let me give you a brief summary of this configuration. The first thing we need to do is to clone the Adobe template project into your GitHub account and make it public by clicking on use this template and then create repository. As you can see, I already have mine here. You will notice it says generated from AM boilerplate as a source. So next, you should install AM Code Sync within your account to allow Adobe to listen to changes in your newly created repository. Click on Configure and then select the new repository you created. In my case is my website. Since I have done this, there's no need to repeat the process. So finally, we are ready to use a reference URL I'm going to show you, replacing our data to see the project running in our repository. You can see now branch. Mine is main, so I have to replace the name branch for my case is main. Then your repo name, where it says a repo. So I'm going to change main here. And where it says repo, I'm going to place my website, which is the name of my repo, and your GitHub ID under owner. So let me complete this. And then for owner, my case is Fernando Branca, so I just have to put my ID GitHub here. And then our project will be up and running. You just have to click on enter and voila. This is the template sample project Adobe provides. And
Nice.
that's all.
Very cool. All right, let me stop sharing this. All right, cool. And sorry. All right, there we go. See, you have no glitches, I do. So that's good. Yeah, that's great. And so then I think the next thing would be to show an example of how the document-based authoring works, right? I mean, how does this work? Let's see it in action.
Yes, of course. I think. Wait a moment. I think before that, I think the first question you might have is, how do I link a Google account to the repository where the project
Oh,
is running? Well, let's start from there. If you can just
yeah,
run
sure.
the second tape that I have for this meeting,
Yep.
I will walk you through on the steps.
Cool.
So the first thing you need to do is take the example folder or structure necessary for our authoring document from the template provided by Adobe. You will see there is somewhat called starter content. Simply download it and upload it to your own Google Drive with any name you prefer. You can see that I named mine my folder Helix. I'm going to show you now, but with the same reference structure with the folders and files. My folder Helix is the name. Next, we need to grant permission to this folder for helix at adobe.com as an editor so that it can read our content from Drive. So you have to click on the bottom to share, and then you will have to add the helix at adobe.com as an editor. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I think this is pretty simple. I think everybody knows how to share a folder. So it is just clicking on the share button for the folder and then adding, um, in this case, helix at adobe.com, as you can see here. Well, and that's all from this part. And now it's time for our repository to read this content. To do this, simply copy the URL of your folder, as you can see on the URL place, and go to your project on GitHub, specifically to the file name fstv.yml. I think it's strange, but well, this is the place where we have to put the path to our Google Drive, as you can see below the mount points line. And then you have to update this file and you're done. Your Drive content is now connected to your project repository. But one last thing, not mandatory but very useful, is to install the AIM Sidekick. It is an extension from Chrome and Safari and makes many actions and shortcuts from the Drive interface easier, such as switching between preview and live environments and listening to or publishing the changes we make in our content document. I think will be fantastic if you can add to your tools. So going back to my Drive, you can see how from the file name index that I'm going to open, we can manage the content displayed on the deployed page. Quickly, you can see a hero image, you can see title, content, different structures. But well, I want to show you how it looks in the published content. You can see now how the title is in the hero and the content is displaying in this part of the page. I think it's fantastic how we can manage this. Towards the end, there's another table within the index that appears as cards on the web page. Following predefined styles, I'm going to show you. Just give me a second. I'm just showing how it looks for tables, images, and content. But there's another type of styles we can add to our site using this sample project, and I'm going to show you, which is the cards part. There are some additional configuration we can make with this table. You can see the name is cards, and the title and the content is displayed in such as rows for these tables. But then for the deployed page, you are going to see how this image and this content is displayed in a different style, of course, as you can see now, boilerplate highlights section. So you can see the images and below the title and below the contents. So I think it's a good tool for us to manage the content. Then I think another important thing is, as you can see at the end of the page, in this case, the index document I'm working on, we can see metadata data. So title, for example, is the part when we can configure the browser tab, the name we are displaying on the browser tab, and also the description. I think that's another important part. That description is what is going to appear when our site is found in organic web searches. So we are going to fulfill information about our site and how we can be found on the web. Other details that I haven't mentioned are that using the content management approach ensures a responsive page, as you can see now. You can just see how mobile and desktop and tablet the display is. So I think that's another good benefit of using this type of authoring document. Additionally, coupled with good development practices predefined by the technology stack used in this project,
We are guaranteeing a strong SEO ranking, as I said before. This ensures an excellent position in web searches. That I think that's another important feature for this way of authoring documents. I'm going to show you, for example, with my example page, in page speed insights, how the performance of my page is. So I'm going to run an analysis and show you my sample project, the performance metrics I have for that. We can see for mobile and for desktop the metrics. Just give me a second and we will see the results. Okay, we are 100% performance. That means our site is responsive, our site has the best practices for developing for mobile and for desktop breakpoints. So I think a good amount of effort saving using this type of authoring document approach for content management. And that's all.
Awesome. And yeah, maybe you should do this for a living, Fernando. I don't know. You're pretty good
Yes,
at
I think we can do that.
it. Cool.
Of course.
So I know that was some stuff that was pre-taped, but can we do some live demo on this call? So could you maybe add a row to a table and show us how it looks and how the publishing works?
Yes, of course. Let's add one row or something like that on the index document I showed you. So let me
Yeah.
share my screen and walk you through the edition part. Give me a second, please. Let me know if it is visible.
Yeah, I see the Google Drive.
Okay, good. First of all, just let me make sure that I have the proper document here. Yes. Okay. For example, let's add a new row. As you can see now, I'm working on the index file. But first, I want to show you how this file looks. Just let me just delete this file, this row, sorry, and show
Oh, you
you
know what? It's
how
not.
the.
It didn't open the file yet. It's just showing the
Oh,
drive.
sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sharing a tab. Just let me
Yeah.
share again, so I can have everything on the same screen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that again. Let me know if you now can see the whole browser.
Yes.
Can you see this? Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, as I said, I was working on the index document, as I said. As you can see here, this is the part of the images and content I showed before. For example, this is the way it looks like on the page. And you asked me for a new row or something to change. So what I'm going to do is to create a new row and then say this is a new content, for example. And then I would like to grab an image from my document. So give me a second. I'm going to look for an image to see how it looks on the page. I have one here. Let me know if you can see this on this row for this document. Is that
Yep.
okay?
Yeah, it looks good.
So you can see here, the changes are not in the preview instance, but if I click on the preview button using AM Sidekick tool on the browser, automatically it's going to reload the page in the same instance, and you are going to see the change here. We have a new row, an image, and the content.
Nice.
I think this is the magic.
That is the magic. That is the magic. Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
everyone who developed this will appreciate it just being called magic.
Yes.
Cool. And then what about like the cards and that whole the whole card like component? Can you add a card? We can see how that looks too.
Yes, of course. Just give me a second. We can go back to the index document,
Mm-hmm.
and in this case, we have a couple of cards here. What I'm going to do is to replace an image and perhaps the content of any of them. So you can see before changing that I have a couple of images similar or the same image here for item 2 and 3, and I'm going to share the second one. So
Cool.
let's go to the second one and say, hey, I don't want this image anymore. And instead of that, I would like to add a new one. So give me a second. What about if I add the same image here?
And now I would like to say, this is another image. You can place whatever you want here. And then click on preview again to see how it looks on the preview instance. And automatically the page is going to be reloaded. And you will see the changes here. Give me a second. Yeah, we have here the new image and the new content I added for this card.
Nice.
What about that?
Yeah, looks good. Looks like something just as easy as you said it was once all the setup's done. And then as far as like the content delivery side of this, it seems like Adobe took care of the back end. So what improvements are you seeing from a publishing perspective too?
Okay, of course, for document-based authoring, we will have two types of environments, as I said before, preview and live, which is, I think it's a good improvement. As I said before, a clear improvement we see here is the existence of a plugin available for Chrome and Safari called Adobe Sidekick. This plugin allows you to manage your versions and deployment to different environments with simple clicks. It's the toolbar I show you in the demo, so you don't even need to enter AM. It remains visible while you edit your content on Google Doc. As we saw in the demo, from the editing document, you have the preview button that allows you to run the web page with the current changes in a preview environment. And in the preview, I didn't show you, but I can show you, the reload button will turn red if it finds changes on your authoring document to reload. And the publish button will also turn red if there are changes in preview that haven't been applied to the live, prompting you to publish them. It's truly wonderful from the author perspective. Do you think?
Totally. I mean, I think it's just thinking about someone, especially if their job is really just like, say, writing a blog and publishing it, and then they have to do all this ramp up of learning all these aspects of AEM versus just going into a document like they're used to and they're familiar with. I can see the ramp up being easier and just the work being easier for them.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
That's awesome, Fernando. Dude, thank you so much for going through all this. And I think we'll go on to some questions now. So I don't think we have any in chat, but luckily I prepared some questions that I had when I was thinking about this as well. So we'll do that. So first of all, one thing is with the images. I mean, if people are using AEM sites, they're probably using AEM assets, and I bet a lot of approved image, if we think about content supply chain, like approved images are getting put into assets. So can an author use what's in AEM assets, or do they have to upload them all via the document? How's this connected?
Okay, for pulling AEM assets, well, if you have some asset in AEM that you would like to bring into your document, you can use AEM Sidekick, the same tool. You have to log in using this tool, and then it's going to connect to your AEM instance, which is the tool I showed you for managing environments. From there, you could also bring assets into the document and use them as a content. So that's all that you need to do. Just use this tool, for Safari and Chrome, as I said, and you can pull the assets from AEM without issues.
That's great, because yeah, that's so important, just how everything's connected, and Adobe's been great about doing that with Adobe Experience Cloud. And if anyone has a question, just put it in the questions tab or the chat, and I'll just ask another one that I thought of. But I was thinking about too, like sometimes you'll want to add video. Like I know for our blog at 3Share, we'll have sometimes video demos and that kind of thing embedded as well. So can you add video to this kind of authoring experience as well?
Yes, I think it's something like a tricky part, but to do so, you can open your Slack channel if you are using Slack for communication within your company or your businesses, and say, hey, add Franklin bot, upload this video, and a new chat is created. Then drag the video file into the Slack thread you created. The Slack bot will respond with a unique URL for the video you just uploaded, which you can then copy and paste into your document when you are authoring, and then the video will be added to your web page. So this is super simple, but you have to use the Slack in this case to upload videos, because in this case Google Doc doesn't allow you to upload a video into the document, but you can add a URL, and with that URL you are going to connect with AEM using Slack, in this case Franklin bot. who is going to provide you that link you need for your page to display the video, and that's all.
Yeah, that's cool. And just Franklin is a name that this
Mm-hmm.
feature was going by for a little while. And from our conversations, I love Franklin because I was like, is it Aretha Franklin? Is it Benjamin Franklin? No, it's just Franklin. So yeah. So
Exactly.
cool. All right. Well, that's awesome. And that's actually, yeah. Google Docs doesn't support that kind of thing. You're right. So that's good. And let me just see if we have any questions. Okay, we don't. So maybe they just like my questions. But
Mm-hmm.
the last
Of
one
course.
I would like to, and just because as someone who, as an annoying project manager and BA, which you are, I would find bugs and issues. And I'm just thinking about what is the biggest risk in using this type of authoring?
As for risks, I think it's quite safe to use document-based authoring. I don't see risks that could impact any part of the processes irreparably. I think we can always have a control set to solve issues, but the main concern might be from the author's perspective regarding the potential for human error when entering content. For example, if you accidentally change the document's structure, it won't appear as expected, but we can have versioning for documents that allows us to revert if necessary. However, from a scalability standpoint, I do see risks that the site may not be able to meet certain expectations, such as the ability to add functionalities in the future, as the option. This option is designed for static sites, as you know, of blogs or that type of sites. So I think that's the only thing I can add for risks in this case.
Yeah, so it's just kind of making sure they don't really disrupt the structure of
Exactly.
like those cards, for example. It has to be that way, and then they'll be okay. That's great. All right, I don't see any questions or chat, but we really appreciate everyone who joined us. And if you're watching on a playback on YouTube, thank you for being here and sticking with us. I hope you found it really informative. But Fernando, I really want to thank you for talking to me about this topic, and it's been really insightful. So I appreciate all the time and effort you put into it.
Oh, thank you and everyone for listening to me talk about the Edge Delivery Services. It has been interesting to get to know more about this feature. So thank you all.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. And thanks everyone again for attending. And you can catch our next Evolve in the new year. We'll be sharing this video at 3sharecorp.com/evolve soon. And I know our web address, but didn't say it well. So thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.